Welcome to Game Making Tutorials 101 SOS series. In this series, we're going to take your game making problems and I'm going to try and create a little video to help you solve them. So the first one has been written in by Leo, who wants to know how to get a basic character movement working, and then in the second video, we're going to show you how to get an enemy to follow that character. This will work great in RPG style games, maze style games, and lots of others, including shoot 'em ups. So let's dive into it right now. Okay, folks, so here's a little GameMaker file that I've set up. It's got a quick room, it's got some walls in it. You'll see that I've rotated some of those. You'll see that the main three sprites that I've got is an enemy, a player, and a wall. And then we've got three objects, which is an enemy, a player, and a wall. So the wall does nothing. I suppose the only important bit to point out on here was checking the collision masks of your wall. And you will have noticed that I've changed this to rectangle with rotation. That's really important because if you're going to rotate walls and things in there, you want the collision box to rotate as well. So that's why I've added that one on there. Okay, and folks, so go onto your object player, go to add event, create, and then all you need to do is assign a variable called player speed and set it with a value of 3. You can set this value to whatever you want, and this is going to set the player speed. Of course, change that once you test it, see how it works. Next then, let's get the player to move. So for this, you're going to need a step event. Go into there, click on add event, click step, and once you're in the step event, this is the code that you're going to need. So first of all, you're going to declare some temporary variables. And we're going to set them up as saying left and right. Whilst you're in this box, just a quick thing to point out is if you click on the plus, it just adds a new one. So you don't have to keep adding in loads of extra boxes. So I just clicked on that 4 times. We've made a variable called left, right, up and down. And then the value of it is keyboard underscore check, open brackets, VK left for left. Now, if you wanted to use WS and D, you would change that bit where it says VK left to ORD and then A in speech marks with these brackets around it. So ORD, open bracket, speech mark, A, capital A, speech marks, close bracket. And that will help you do WS and D. I've written the comments in down there. So you do that same thing then, copying and pasting it in for right, VK right, up, VK up, and down, VK underscore down. Once you've done that, there's a lovely little bit of code that we're going to use underneath it. Again, we'll go create another temporary variable, this time calling it player X. This is to control the value of whether you're moving left or right. So the value of this is actually right take away left. When you press left, that effectively makes it true and therefore gives it a value of 1. So if you do 1 take away left, if you're not pressing left, that'll be 0. 1 take away 0 is 1. So it means that the values will be positive, which in that case will move you right along the x-axis. If you're not pressing right down, so right is 0, but you are pressing left, then left becomes 1. So 0 take away 1 becomes -1, and therefore that gives you the negative value, which moves you left. And the same thing can be done with up and down, but just remembering that up in GameMaker is a negative value, whereas down is a positive value, which does seem a bit wrong. Next one then. Once you set that up, you're then going to set up your move and collide event, which is the nicest, honestly, the nicest little bit of code in here. So what we're going to do here is you are going to take the object wall. That's what we don't want it to crash into. So that is the collision. That handles the collision. And next, you times the player X in the X dist, the player underscore X times by player underscore speed. Of course, then the Y distance is player underscore Y times the player speed. Leave iterations on 4, this works fine. But one of the problems is sometimes when you're moving diagonally, it can multiply your speed up. A few of you found these problems before. So what you need to do is you need to set a max X movement and a max Y movement to the player underscore speed as well. And this basically limits you to that speed. And that's it. That's it for your player movement. So what you can then do, hit play, and let's take a look and see what happens. Here we go. So you move up, down, left, and right. And of course, if you hit you now cannot move through the walls. And what's really nice about this is if you press right against the diagonal, it actually moves you down across it. Now, and again, same for up, which is actually a really nice mechanic, and I really quite like it. So I think this is really useful for any RPG style games, shoot 'em up games, or literally anything where you need a simple up, down, left, right sort of mechanic. And that's it for this video. I hope you found that useful, and now you've got a really nice basic character movement that avoids those main objects, which is the wall, and stops you moving through them, but also can handle this diagonal movement when it touches them and collides with the wall. Personally, I think it's dead simple, dead easy, and I can see it being used in tons of different types of games. Don't forget, if you enjoyed that, to like, comment and subscribe. That'll really help me out, folks, and I'll see you for the next video.